It now appears that a week cannot pass by without a new release or update to previous titles hitting the Xbox store. And thanks to a helpful message on Twitter, the mighty Reach, arguably the best Halo single player title ever, is this week's recipient of such an update. Now, one of the earlier games to be added into the BC list, it was also one of a few titles that really suffered under its emulated state. Compared to its native 360 version, it never managed as high or consistent frame rates, hampered by frame pacing issues, giving us frame time from extremes of 33 milliseconds in between them. Now on the frame rate graph, you can see the time spiking from 16 milliseconds right down to 49.9, and in between hitting the desired 33 milliseconds on occasions. Now these are felt throughout play as judder or stutter as you are presented with this new uneven cadence of new frames. On its own, a bad enough state, but it got worse with much bigger dips into the 80 milliseconds mark and long sections of sub 25 FPS during the game's plethora of firefights and strained GPU and CPU segments from the hordes of AI bots and your fellow Spartan team. It left a bad taste for the title and BC at the time, and even though fully playable, it was far from as enjoyable or easy to control as the 360 release. Now, some of this came from the backwards compatibility's consistent VSync lock that is not present on the 360, and the combined spikes and dips leave you with a lower level of control on movement, combat and aiming. So with this new 7.5 gig plus patch, have the team managed to bring the game up to the quality we have seen from other titles I have covered? Well, if we compare the previous X1 release right from donning your helmet, the improvement is stark. With us being given an uneven frame delivery across the opening real-time cutscene and as such, a judder across the game, we now see a near flat 30Hz and 33 millisecond frame time with only occasional flips into the 16 milliseconds to keep the pace consistent and noticeably smoother. Now this continues into the actual gameplay with again a nigh on perfect horizontal graphic after this patch. A revelation of an update on its previous version, including both the Xbox One and S alike, now allowing combat to feel much smoother and more consistent than before. But it gets even better. Not only have the team managed to resolve the frame pacing issues with this triple buffered output, but they also equally eradicated the dips under the target 30 FPS. In these like-for-like tests, we can see what once sat under 30 for a good minute or so is now a near lock 30 in as close as possible tests. Even taking margin of error into account, the evidence is clear and speaks for itself. So with the best BC version confirmed, can the team smash the final target of equaling, or dare I say it, beating the 360 original?
Banshees, heads up Charlie 1. Heads up Charlie 1. Banshee, heads up Charlie 1.
The answer is clear as day that the team have refined its JIT process and it looks to maximise the new host hardware. I cannot commend them enough for such an impressive showing whilst also reaffirming my predictions at the time of this. Microsoft have given them the time budget to improve its success on titles such as this, and they have worked hard, I am sure, to deliver these results. Now with Firefights now holding a near lock 30 on the Xbox One, under identically presented visuals, we see a far more inconsistent performance on 360. Far from bad, but with some 50 millisecond spikes and mild tearing, it is now the weaker version of the two, across all tested scenarios. This wouldn't really be noticeable that much aside my metrics, which you can see the comparison from the original test and the 360 to the new test now including the Xbox One S. There's a big leap. The results in a game that is now over 30% more consistent at points on both the last release and 360, with it now delivering over 15% mean improvement over the original 360 release, along with it having zero tearing. Yes, you still have the mild hangs of streaming data from the hard drive as all releases, but these are minor and very brief at the relevant sector points. But this results in under 40 drop frames now on equal tests, of over 600 including tearing on the 360 and nearly 1,000 from its first release. The increase is remarkable and noticeable. In summary, we can now clearly have the best version possible to play this Bungie masterpiece free of charge to all Xbox One players. using what is a remarkable piece of engineering and a genuine USP within the Xbox brand. If you are hungry for more Halo action, I suggest you reach out for this update. It is the new chief amongst them all. I will have many more videos coming soon from Modern Warfare on the PS4, Gears of War 4 on Xbox and PC, and much more. So if you like those, this or myself and channel, then please help support it and me by liking and subscribing. I am totally independent, self-funded, with all my own hardware, written software and mostly game purchases. I appreciate all the help, subs and shares, and of course feedback you lovely peeps give me. So keep it calm, cool and compatible, and I'll see you soon on the next one.
You read his file?
Only the parts that weren't covered in black ink.
Anyone claim responsibility, sir?